Hey there, so that was Phil from Heart Transport and his colleague dropping off season 3 of the AK Cobra. Don't worry, you haven't missed the end of season 2. That's still at paint shop and then onto trimmers, and that's going to be another 4 or 5 weeks away. Of course, we've got a lot to do with that. We're going to finish it all up and take it for its IVA test, etc. Hopefully it'll pass, and then onto its new owner. Anyway, this is season 3. What have we got in store? Well, there's only so many times you want to see a Cobra being built, right? But in the previous seasons, I have tried to get all same subject matter into one video. So when I'm doing the brakes, I'm just doing the brakes. When I'm just doing the lights, I do all of the lights. And that's not really, how you would build a car. It's meant to be quite fluid and a bit more freestyle, if you like. So this is going to be just, what comes up, I'm going to fit. I'm not necessarily going to have to wait for a couple of weeks for a part to arrive so that I can complete the lighting video. We're just going to crack on, and hopefully it's going to be a bit more quick style series of videos with a bit of voice overlay, so you can just see me going at a task and chopping in at different stages, so you can see what's going on, and it'll be a bit quicker as well. So that's going to be season 3. Hope you're going to enjoy it. This car is not a commission. I'm just building it for myself, but obviously I can't keep it. And anyone with kids and bikes and scooters knocking around in the garage will attest. It's going to be quite a hard job to keep it in top-notch condition. So it is for sale if you know anyone that's interested. But at the moment, we're going for a classic style. It's going to be a Viking blue with white stripes. But things change, and hopefully a few little different touches. Maybe we'll put a real subtle stereo inside it, and it's got a bigger engine. It's got the Chevy LS3 6.2 litre, but it's the 495 brake horsepower edition, so it should be a little bit more tasty on the road. Anyway, here it is. This is what we've got. Let's go and have a look at all the parts. So this is it, got all the parts laid out, really nice set of parts, a lot more sort of new components on this delivery. Brakes are really nice, whether they're refurbed or not, they're awesome and looking really good. Lots of new parts there, not just refurbed and hammerited or powder coated, but a lot of parts are obviously from a donor Jag. So that's to be expected as well, and just what we want. So everything's looking good here. Tried to lay out some stuff as well as I can. A lot of stuff in the house, mixing in with the previous builds things as well. Got a lovely refurbed diff here. Make sure it's refurbed, not just serviced. I think it's well worth spending the extra money on. And then we have all the bolts and washers and nuts laid out. So I'm in the process of labelling those up, because it's really handy to, when you're told to grab a certain size washer, etc., that you know exactly where it is. So that's all good, that's in progress. And honestly, I think we're about there, and we're going to get cracking. All right then, so this is the bit that I like. All the wrenching, all the nuts and bolts, all dead easy. Nothing to measure, no brake lines to measure or try and bend, etc. This is exactly what I like and why we're doing it. So first job is the top wishbones here. So copper grease the main bolt going through there, lashings of grease, and put the washers in as per the instructions. I think initially I was putting one washer in at the front there and 2 at the back. Always clean off the thread at the end, because that'll have got a bit of grease or just from the factory, so it's nice and clean for your nylock. And then the idea is you do this up, and the wishbone should be able to just about support itself. So you can see there I'm testing there, or just holding it with my knee, and when it can just about support itself, we are good to go. And then onto the other side, no messing around. All of this is dead quick. I'm not sure if I'd ever really purchase a rolling chassis, because this is all the fun stuff for me, and it actually doesn't take that long or save you too much time anyway. Of course they would have laid the brake lines, etc., but That's not too hard itself either. Clean off a bit of excess copper grease. Now I did clean these bolts up with a little bit of emery cloth. Sometimes you do just need to gently tap them through with a hammer, but there shouldn't be really too much hindering them sliding through. Just the fact that you haven't got everything lined up quite straight enough, which is why you have to tap it through with a little hammer. And then onto the bottom wishbones. Again, there is a certain order to put the washers in first of all, and the washers are there so you can adjust them left and right later for the camber or caster angles. That's a little bit difficult for me because I was just recovering from a broken wrist there, but we've got a nicely greased up bolt, got the two washers in there at the front, and then I just push it through and add another washer in as it goes through. Occasionally a little bit tight, might just need opening up slightly with a bladed screwdriver, but it shouldn't be too bad. Okay, gentle tap through and then cleaning up the threads. That's it, and then move on to the other side. Just a light bit of hammer action there, just to tap it through the last inch or so. Clean up the threads. Add another washer, and I think we're all done there. Alright then, so that didn't take too long, pretty happy with that. I am actually going to take this top bolt out and put a washer just in there now that I can see that I've got enough thread to be able to manage a washer and still have a full thread showing. But I'm not going to do that until I've seen if I need to adjust the caster angle, because we need to fit the front hubs now, and you can adjust the caster angle by moving this washer over to here, or getting rid of washers and messing around with the bottom washers as well, front to back, and that adjusts the top and bottom arms sideways, and will obviously then adjust the angle of the this hub. So first of all, need to make sure that this is all level. So I've got a good bubble level there. So let's get started. Alright, so these hubs are dead easy to put on. I normally support the bottom wishbone with a trolley jack. And that will just give enough pressure pushing up to sort of jam the thread in there and to wedge it in so you can actually do it up. The bottom ones are actually really handy because they do have a hole for an Allen key, so you can hold that straight while you're doing it up, but the bottom ones just need a bit of pressure on from the top. Okay, so the front hubs are on, all nice and tight. The bottom ones are dead easy because they have a socket for an Allen key, so you can stop the thread from spinning. And the top ones, if you just lean on them, so I've got it all propped up here with a trolley jack. If you just lean and put all your weight on the top, then it actually stops the thread from spinning. It wedges it into this socket, and you can easily do up the nut. So all done on the other side. Now to measure the caster, the instructions suggest to put in a 6mm bolt up here and a 6mm bolt in this little hole here, threaded hole here, but this one's got to have washers on, and then you can put something up alongside the washers and alongside this bolt to measure the angle that this hub is set at. Unfortunately, these were sent to me all built up, and they're really nicely built up, so it's a shame to have to take it all apart, but I don't know what else to take the measurement off of. Alright, so that wasn't too difficult, it came off easy enough. So I've levelled my chassis to make sure this top wishbone is level. I've got my stub axle coming out 90 degrees, and you can see here I've got my M6 bolt handily using the radiator fixing bolts and M6 washers. So now what I'm going to do is use my phone actually to put it up against this edge and the edge of the washers, and I'm looking for an angle of between 6 and 8, and then I've got to make sure the other side's exactly the same. So I can't film that because I'm using the accurate sort of level app on my phone. Okay, so I took the cover off my phone and I put it against here, making sure I wasn't resting it against any of the buttons on my phone, just a flat edge. And I've got a camber angle of, or caster angle of 6.5. It's meant to be between 6 and 8, so I'm pretty happy with that. Hopefully the other side's the same. Alrighty, so this one came at about 8.1. So what I need to do, it's too much this way. I need to make it more this way. So all I'm going to do, because I want to take out this top bolt anyway to put a washer in there, all I need to do is take out a washer from this side and put it to this side, thereby shifting the top wishbone that way and reducing the angle. So I'm pretty happy with that. Hopefully that'll be enough. So I'm going to take out this whole bolt, move that washer to there, and I'm going to add a washer in there, and then we should be all set. Brill, well, I'm happy with that now. I'm about 0.1 difference, and obviously a washer is a lot thicker, too thick to adjust that. I'm pretty happy with that. I got about 6.6 and 6.5, so that will do nicely. So now to do it all up and put the hubs back, assembly back on. Alright, so that's all dead easy, and now to put the calipers on. I haven't got the discs, so they're just going on temporarily. They do have a certain way round. You need to have the brake flexi connection at the bottom and the bleed nipple at the top. So just check each side that is the case. Right, so we're having quite a good morning so far. Nothing's taken much more than about 20 minutes for each section, as in 20 minutes to put the top wishbones on, bottom wishbones, etc. But now we're on to the shock absorbers, so let's have a look at what we get from Nitron. They're pretty nice actually, and I see the code is exactly the same for the front and rear, so nothing too much to mess up. So this is one of the nicest things to install because it's all brand new and not covered in grease. Although you do have to put grease, copper grease in through the holes there and on your bolts. So that's all nice and simple. It does say to put them a certain way around in the instructions, but I think they're referring to an older model of a spring where the adjustment point needed to be accessible on one side or the other, but these can be rotated anywhere, and the rebound bit that's right at the bottom again can be clicked around from any position. So I just put them on how I see fit and how I like the writing to be showing. So after this, nearly finishing the front end, we are now going to put on the power steering unit, and that fits in really simply. You've got to provide your own bolts and make sure it's all nice and square there. Alright, so when fitting this steering rack, once it's tight, those pipes just here need to not interfere with this chassis. This can all just depend on where AK have put their holes into this cross member. But all looks clear, no matter where it ends up sliding to. I can definitely get a couple of post-it notes down there, but I will just pull it away as I tighten and make sure that it's all absolutely clear. And then once we've done that, then we have to put on the ends the little ball joints, which are these, and we need to put them on and make 14 rotations on each end, and then measure the gap between each one, and it should be about 47.5 inches. And if it's not 47.5 inches, then adjust each one both at the same time until you do have that 47.5. Alright, so I've got good measurements now between centres, but later adjustment will happen. So all we need to do now is put these in from underneath, which is a bit tough with my broken hand. So I'll do that in a second, and then that is the front end complete for now as per the instructions. And just like that, we're straight into the diff. Now this is awesome, I really enjoy this. However, it is around 30 kilograms, if not a bit more, and dead heavy. I would highly recommend 2 people on this. However, if you do get it exactly balanced on the trolley jack, it is possible. But as soon as it goes off balance, you'll lose it and won't be able to bring it back on your own. So you know, you could cause some damage, so be careful. Now, I'd already pre-installed this just to check, and what I'm looking for is the nose of the diff to be flush against that triangular section of metal at the front. So I'd already checked that, so I could ascertain which spacer washers I needed further back. Also, it's worth just checking the location holes for all of these. You can see I needed 4 bolts on that front nose, and one of the holes didn't quite line up. So I did just open that up slightly, mere millimeters, just to allow the bolt to go through and engage the thread in the nose of the diff successfully. So well worth doing that, because if you get into this kind of position and you find it's not lining up, you've got to take it all out again anyway. So you can see there that I'm just touching all the bolts and just lining everything up. And once you've got a bolt on, you're pretty safe, and it can't drop off. And you can see there, nice and flush on that face, and nice and flush on the next washer's face, and then a couple of washers in there to space that out. Now we're copper greasing the lower wishbone bolt, getting ready to install that. A couple of washers as per instructions. It's really heavy, this bottom wishbone, and I just tap that gently through with a hammer. And you might find that you have to just adjust the length of this spacer tube as well. And I just took a couple of mil off there. And then it was fine. Another washer at the front. Alright then, so with the rear wishbones all set up, it's onto the hub carriers. So let's take a closer look. Alright, no problem at all with the hub carriers. Grease up your bolt with copper grease. Just lay the brake lines out of the way somewhere, and it goes straight through. Clean up the thread, get all the grease off, a couple of washers, and you're done. And so that was all pretty quick and easy. And now we're onto the drive shafts. Now I need to show you the drive shafts. Now when you put the drive shafts on, you have to adjust the angle, the camber angle or something. And to do that, you add or take away some of these shims. But that means you'll be taking this on and off several times, which means you'll ruin your nylocks. So keep your good nylocks and just use some standard nuts on here. I've actually got some Duff nylocks which I'm going to put on and use them. And the same goes for the main drive shaft nut. Try and get a spare or something, because when you do this up, the idea is it deforms this sort of helicoil section inside to stop it undoing. And basically this is the only thing that's kind of stopping your wheel coming off, which is pretty serious really. So I'm going to keep these good ones. I'm going to put on my Duff one for doing up tight and making sure we got the correct camber angle and everything. And then when it's all good, I'm going to put on my good drive shaft nut and do that up real tight. And it's got to go up to about 220 or foot-pounds or something. Check the instructions, but basically I'm pretty much going to be standing on that on that bar to do up these, because I don't want them coming undone again. It does also say in instructions you can use a bit of Loctite, so I may put a dab on there as well, but really this section inside should suffice. That's what it's all about. That's what happens, how all the Jaguars were done up, and they're still on the road, right? No wheels falling off, I hope. Anyway, so use some different nylocks there, and try and use a different nut here, and only use this one for your final doing up. So let's have a look how all that's going to go. I've got to put on this drive shaft, and it is a little bit awkward getting into each of the recesses to do up these nuts. But you know, if you wear any paint away or anything, you can always just touch it up with a bit of Hammerite or something after the event. So let's get cracking. There we go, drive shaft all done up, main nut done up reasonably tight. The instructions call you to take the highest point of this hub and make it 150 from the top of the chassis, which it is. I then use my phone level as a guide, and when I put it on here, I'm almost 2 degrees out, and the top needs to come out just a little bit more. So I need to put some more shims in here to kind of push this drive shaft out further. Now I do have a larger shim, which would probably do it, but I'm a bit nervous about using it. I don't know if any weight differences either side is going to be an issue. I doubt it, and it's pretty much the same weight anyway as a whole stack of shims. But I'm thinking that I can get away with just I think I just need like another 3 in there just to push it out a little bit more. So we'll see how that goes. If I need any more, then I will definitely take all those single shims out, put in this one, maybe with just one single thin shim, and see how that measures up. And once you're done with your drive shafts, in with the nice nitron shocks in the back. Dead easy. Just make sure the bolts pass through successfully. You might just have to clean a bit of powder coat off the insides, but apart from that, they go in and finally support the rear wishbones, so I could get wheels on and wheel it in and out. Right, so we're all done with the drive shafts here, all done up nice and tight. I've got an angle of 0.3 on one side and 0.5 on the other, so well chuffed with that. All done up to 225 foot-pounds, I think. Check your instructions, plus a little bit, just to make sure. So yeah, really good. All set, got the springs in on the other side. Happy days. So the last thing we're going to do on this video are these diff tie bars. So they go up to this bracket up here, down to the diff, and help support it. Now these diff tie bars are manufactured in-house, different accuracies, different angles occasionally on these, just very slightly. Initially I thought both tie bars didn't fit, but swap them about, and not only swap them about, but swap from one end to the other, because there'll be just a slight variance on each end here. So after doing that, I did actually find this diff tie bar fits absolutely perfectly, which leaves me just one hole to sort of drill through. And the instruction is basically just to run a drill through. So you can see here it's just off center. I'm going to run a drill through there, put the bolt through, and that is done. And that is per the instructions. So I'll see you in a second. And there we go, diff tie bars all in place. I just temporarily put the handbrake cables in there, but they need to be adjusted when I put the ram in, etc. So all really pleased with that. All four corners ready to rock and roll. I can put wheels on any time and actually start wheeling this in and out should I need to. So let's crack on. Right, so I think that's enough for this video. Next video, who knows what I'm going to do. We're going free-flowing in this series, but I should think I'll need to get the gas ram in there for the handbrake, get the fuel tank out of the way because it's in the way, and start laying some fuel and brake lines. I'll see you again.